First, we go back in time to 1960 to the Woolworth Building in downtown Greensboro. Not a very nice place in those days because African Americans were barred from coming in and using the lunch counter. But 4 courageous A&T students did just that. They came in, sat down, stayed put, and changed America forever. In honor of that, it's appropriate that that same building be used to house a museum which will open in February of next year. And Jay Paul, our director, we want to meet 2 special guests. One who's been here before in another capacity. We're going to meet him anew. Next to me is the very Honorable Henry Frye, the first, as you probably know, the first African-American justice and Chief Justice on the North Carolina Supreme Court. And next to him, the dishonorable Neil Belenky, who used to, I'm just kidding, used to be the CEO of the United Way, now both co-chair of what's called the 1960 Society. How you doing, Judge?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I won't reach across you. Neil yes. and Judge, both of you, what is the 1960 Society? Who wants to tell me that?
Do you like?
It's a group whose purpose is to help start raising money for the operations and the programs of the museum.
But it's actually going to start up though. It's going to open.
Right? They've got the money. They've got it. They've got everything to open.
And this
it's going to open.
This will help sustain it too.
We want to help sustain it. We want to get really the larger community involved in giving as a part of the museum.
Let me play devil's advocate. I'm going to pick at you for a second. You know there's been some negative press in the past. We're going to open the museum, then it didn't open. We're going to open the museum, and then it didn't open. There was problems. There was flooding, or there was whatever. It's really going to open.
February 1st, if the earth is here, it will open.
Okay, Neil.
2010.
Will the surviving members, of which there are 3 of the 4 original courageous North Carolina A&T students, will those 3 gentlemen be at the opening and any other things?
Yes, definitely. And they come every year. And Mr. McNeil is on the board of the Civil Rights Museum.
Okay.
So you bet.
Now, what will visitors see when they walk into the museum?
Well, there'll be 17 permanent exhibits. Probably the most significant is that the original lunch counter is still there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
With 30 of the original seats. And I was in there the other day, and it's quite an experience just going through this magnificent building, and you end up back at the scene where this occurred. And when you sit at the table, you think you're looking into a mirror. Has the appearance as if you're seeing what went on in 1960.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
But there are a large number of exhibits, mostly about the community, but a number of them having to do with the national implications.
Judge, let me ask you, this is going to be another goodie here. The illustrious Senator Robert Byrd, former member of the KKK, said in a recent interview, quote, "The problems of race are behind us." If you take, go ahead. I want to see your reaction to that, because I was going to say, why even have this museum if Robert Byrd's right?
Yeah, I wish he were correct. We made a lot of progress. Things have changed a lot, but we are nowhere near where we ought to be.
Why did you get involved in this personally? Why did you, because you got so many things on your plate, why did you say, yeah, I'll be co-chair?
Yes, well, I have been waiting for this museum to open. I'm like you in the sense that we thought it was going to open years ago, and we had money problems, they had water problems and all of those things. And finally, to my knowledge, they have things set up so that it can really open on February the 1st. And they were talking to me about we really need to start now with a group of the community, the large. See, a lot of the money now has come from people with big money.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
But we wanted to get the whole community involved in it.
Sure.
And I said, well, I'll be glad to work with it. And they mentioned that Neil Belenky had agreed to be co-chair of this.
You were born in Greensboro, right?
No.
Where were you born?
I was born in Ellaby, the big city of Ellaby.
Okay.
You've heard of Ellaby down in the Sand Hills?
Yeah, but you and I are Southerners. What I was getting at is that Neil is a Northerner. I'm going to ask both of you quickly before we run out of time. What was your impression of growing up in a time where we both remember these times and how far we've come and what it meant to you to observe these kind of things? I'll go to the Northerner first, Neil.
Sure. Well, I knew about Woolworths before I knew what Greensboro was. When I moved down here in 1990, somebody was taking me downtown, and they pointed out Woolworths, and it was the first time I had made the connection. So I think part of it's my age. The Woolworths sit-ins were really the beginning of the second wave of the civil rights movement.
Right.
And then as I know you're aware, because it was in the paper, I was also a civil rights worker in Birmingham in 1964.
So you have a special personal, I don't mean to cut you off because I want to get you back and do this, but we have about a minute left. Judge, I've already asked you why you're involved in this. What does it mean to you, though?
I remember when I could go into Woolworths and other places like that and buy whatever I wanted to buy, even buy food, but I couldn't sit down at the counter. I had to take it and walk out. And that, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember the sit-ins. I was here with the sit-ins.
So
here's a chance to have a history, to show people what it was like then and what it is now, and the progress that we've made.
Well, I want to get you two guys back as we get closer to the date, and thank you for all you're doing. I want to put a plug in for www.sitinmovement.org. That's the website to go to donate. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right.
We'll be right back after